Hey everybody, it's Pop Shrooms coming to you from the Mush Lab. We're here today to look at doing Wok Tech and Water Bead Tech. Now neither are really a tech. It's what we call it, and remember when we say tech, the T-E-K, that means technique. That's kind of, it's the word that we use in our hobby and in mycology when we're breaking something down and we're trying to come up with a process, and everybody uses the word TEK at the end of a little thing that they're trying to come up with. So none of these are anything that we really came up with, but we're putting these together. Well, maybe we did. I might have been the guy that came up with Wok Tech. I haven't really ever seen anybody growing a wok before, and we recently did a nice cake in a wok, regular cake with a substrate and spawn. This time what we're going to try is we're going to use water beads as our substrate. Okay, so I'm going to run through this real quick. This whole video should take about 15 minutes. If you have an extra 15 minutes, we should be able to get through this and do a really nice job showing you how this all works. So we're calling it Wok Tech meets Water Bead Tech. Wok Tech meets Water Bead Tech. Very simple process at the end of the day. I'm going to tell you the few ingredients that you need to do this. We need water beads, we need spawn, we need a wok itself, and then I have found that we're going to want to use a liner. I'm going to explain that to you when we get over to the bench. Materials, let's have some plastic gloves and some ISO spray, and paper towels. That's about it. That whole deal right there is about all it's going to take to put one of these cakes together, wok cake. So, regarding the wok itself, I had found this was a Teflon coated wok, and when we used it the first time, the mycelium actually seemed to have eaten away at the Teflon, which is to me not a good thing at the end of the day to have that Teflon involved. So this time out, we're going to run a liner inside the wok. I'm going to show you how quick little way we came up with a liner to run inside here. We also have our spawn, which in this case is going to be 1 pound, which is way a lot for this cake, but we're going to run a lot. Normally probably maybe even a ½ pound would be enough. 1 pound of Uncle Ben's colonized rice bag would be perfect for this technique in my opinion. So we're going to run a little strong on this. What I have been doing is I've been soaking this one. We have another tech that we call Dunkin' Bag Tech, where we're wanting to hydrate our spawn and get a lot of water into that, because it's going to be the only water it's going to get through the life of the cake as it's colonizing and fruiting. So we dunk that. Sometimes you'll take them out of the jar, out of the bag, and you'll put them in a floating bath and then get them down so they're below the surface for quite a few hours and they're therefore hydrating. For me, I found it's pretty easy to just go ahead and pour the water right into the bag or pour water right into the jar, and you can soak them right in there. We did a little video on that recently. Okay, so that's going to be our already hydrating grain that we're working with. Okay, we have pre-soaked our water beads. We start with water beads. I got a very generic brand. There's Orbeez out there, there's other brands out there, but we just got a generic brand. It's pretty awesome, these things. They start out like these little micro beads, teeny little fellas, and boop, all of a sudden you put water. Well, it's not all of a sudden, it's about a 6-hour soak. So be prepared, I should say that. You're gonna start with these, your water beads. It's gonna be about a 6-hour soak, and they end up filling up with this. There are people out there doing experiments. They're doing their soak in a nutrient-based water, and then therefore, ultimately, they're probably seeing some nutrients in this. All of this has been soaked in a basic tap water. That's all we did. Nothing special, nothing beyond a tap water soak for about 6 hours. Okay, moving forward, let's look at how we made a liner for the wok. What we did was we took a 3mm contractor strength bag, a garbage bag. And we just cut a piece that's slightly larger in overall square to the wok itself, okay? About like that. Then we just took this same guide and we worked by cutting the corners, just like this. You go around and cut the corners off, like that. Kind of in a circular way I'm cutting it, sort of. This is not an exact deal, it doesn't have to be. I don't think, this is the first time I've done it. We're gonna see. I have a pretty good feel for this one. I made one of these a little bit earlier just to test it. Like this one right here. So, let's see how this one worked out. Pretty good, as you can see. Then what I thought to do was to take a piece of duct tape and just sort of on the two handles, maybe just get that liner to stay in place like that, but taping it up onto the two handles. So I now have a liner looking like that. And I think that's gonna be a lot safer than dealing with the Teflon that was on the base of this guy, okay? Now, because I'm a one-man show here, I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera closer and give you a view of what I'm doing on the table and not so much me. So I'm gonna move the camera closer right now. Mr. Camera, move in. Let's see. I am gonna concentrate on working right here on the tray. So that's where it will be. Great. So if I take, I'm gonna work with the wok on the tray. And those guys right there. So you do still want to stay really clean, a lot of aseptic procedures. Obviously we're already out in the open, so we're no longer sterile. We do still want to stay as clean as possible. Most of all of our contact work is going to all want to be clean, clearly. So we'll get that. Let me get a pair of large gloves. Okay. And so on our list of things that we need here, we wrote down the gloves here, and we wrote down some ISO spray, which is a 70% solution of rubbing alcohol. And it's just you get it at CVS or anywhere else, 70% rubbing alcohol. We'll put it in this spray guy right here. I'm gonna also just briefly spray down my liner since we've been handling it and doing all kinds of stuff with that. So I'm gonna spray down my liner, wipe it down, and give it a couple of moments to evaporate while I do the next deal. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Set this here. Now this is gonna be fun. I had been soaking the spawn, so what we'll want to do is drain it now. Okay, just like that. That's cool. Oh gosh, it still has that amazing mushroom smell, like that fresh spawn smell. Now, it looks a little grainy more than the mycelium, but that's because I've been soaking it. This was a beautiful white ball of colonized spawn when we put it into the soak. So I have a lot of confidence in this ball. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. All right, this is beautiful. I'll take this guy, set it right there. Now, my thinking was that I was going to case the, put down as a substrate. We're using the water bead for the whole process here. No soils, no other amendments, anything like that. We're going straight water bead action. So we're gonna put some water beads in the wok all over the place, like so. Okay, then I'm gonna take this. Wow, I hope the camera can see that. Let me just make sure. Might even have to do a close-up on that. That's just about as cool as it gets right there. So I put that right there. I am gonna leave a close-up on it while I do this next thing. Okay. Watch this. I'm gonna break her up just a little bit, not majorly, but get it broken up, and we're gonna want it so it ultimately gets a little bit down into our water bead action right there. Get it down in there. Just like that, I think. So I have a bed of mycelium, kind of broken up, but not all crumbled. Okay, just like that. Then I'll take the rest of my water bead and case it. Like that. And I'm gonna even it out so I can see, almost just barely see the surface of the mycelium, but not quite. So it's almost like one ball layer over it, not more. So I want it closer to mycelium, closer to the surface, where it gets a chance to colonize out and fruit up. But that right there, you can see a little bit right here. Mycelium is pretty close to the surface, but it's still slightly covered with the balls. Okay, then I'm just going to lid it up. That's one of the reasons I really like the wok. Originally, the whole idea of the Wok TEK is because it had this clear glass lid that would hold the moisture down closer to the surface, but it also has a little breathing vent in it right here. And that little breathing vent in the lid, I think, really helps us out a lot. So we end up going like that. Our little lid on. Oh man, that fits good with that liner. Almost like a seal, and then I'm just gonna have air come out of that. Boop, that's it. We got ourselves another experiment. Good old Wok TEK. So, we will update the whole process. Let me move the camera back. We're going to update this whole process and let you guys know what we're doing and how it's going. I want to tell you, really appreciate your stopping by and checking out this video. And it's going to be fun to update it and tell everybody how it's going. So, Wok TEK meets Water Bead Tech at the Mush Lab. This is Pops from the Mush Lab. Pops, peace out.